everyone, am I live? Please let me know on the chat box. Hi Darshana, hi Shruti, hi Nishita. Am I live? Am I live? Chalo, drop me some hearts on the chat box. This is the least you can do. Drop me some hearts on the chat box. Let me know if I am visible, audible, everything to you. Raghu, you're sending breakfast? Bhej de. Send. Hi Nida, how are you? Thank you Darshana. See, Darshana is the only one hearing me. Yes. So everyone, yesterday we completed Animal Kingdom. Tell me how was the session yesterday? Tell me how was the session yesterday? Everyone tell me how was yesterday's session? Tell me. Kya baat hai Sai Lakshmi? Very good. Yes, I had my breakfast. Did all of you have your breakfast? That's the only way things are going to go into your head. Yes, Sai Lakshmi. Let us now begin. Thank you, Ashwin. Hi, Sangam. Chalo. Let's begin, and any of those who are new to this channel, let me just quickly introduce you to myself. I'm Dr. Sindur, NEET Zoology expert at Vedantu. And yes, I have done my BHMS from Dr. D.Y. Patil College in Pune, and I have 10 straight years of teaching experience for NEET Zoology. So yes kids, let us now begin. Yesterday's session was absolutely rocking, and that is the same way we're going to make all our sessions each and every day. Okay, every day we will be covering a chapter from your NEET NCERT textbook. Yes. Alright kids, let's begin the most awaited evolution chapter. Yes, today was planned biotechnology, but I decided, since you guys asked me yesterday, ma'am evolution, ma'am evolution, ma'am evolution. So I thought let's get evolution done with first, and we will be covering biotechnology. So don't worry. Alright, don't worry. Okay, let us now begin. And how are we going to start this? Look. First of all, there is origin of universe, origin of earth, origin of life. Yes or no? Origin of universe. How many years ago? Origin. Origins. Which are the different origins? Universe. How many years ago? Universe. 20 billion years ago. What about earth? Earth. 4.5 billion years ago. And what about life? Life, 4 billion years ago. Yes? Perfect. 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 Chalo. Let's now begin with the highlights. Look. First of all, they're telling you important point. Stellar distances. Okay, everyone, I hope you are all able to see the screen. Stellar distances, excellent. Stellar distances are measured in light years. Okay, what is stellar distance? The distance between where you are standing and the stars. The distance between you and the stars is what we call as stellar distances. So whenever you're looking at a star, you're not looking at your Dadaji, you're not looking at your Nanaji, you're not looking at your Purvajo, you are looking at years back in time. Okay, so stellar distances are measured in light years. Whatever you are seeing today is emitted light which started its journey millions of years ago. Okay, and how many kilometers? Trillions of kilometers away. Fine. Now we see that universe is vast, and let us see. Compared to the universe, Earth is only a speck. Fine. Now, as we said, universe is almost 20 billion. Universe is almost 20 billion years old. Okay. Then, what is the universe comprised of? Huge clusters of galaxies comprise the universe. Okay. What does galaxy contain? Galaxy contains stars and clouds of gas and dust. Fine. So, now you know what the universe is made up of. You know what galaxy is made up of. Fine. Now, as we said, Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory is what is attempting to explain Origin of universe, important for your MCQ. What is the theory which attempts to explain origin of universe? It is Big Bang theory. Okay. Now, when we talk about Big Bang theory, it is a single huge explosion and it is unimaginable. Single huge explosion, unimaginable in physical terms. Okay. Then what happened? Universe expanded. When the universe expanded, temperature came down. When temperature came down, so look, there's Big Bang. There is, can you all see this? There is Big Bang first. Then, because of Big Bang, universe expanded. Okay. And everything started going away from each other. Okay. Because expansion means things are going away from each other. So, temperature came down. Okay. After temperature came down, the gases hydrogen and helium were formed. Right? Hydrogen and helium were formed. Then these gases then condensed. Condensation of the gases. Okay? Condensation of the gases then formed the galaxies. Which galaxy are we living in? Which galaxy are we living in? Tell me, children. So hydrogen and helium formed. Condensation of under gravitation formed the galaxies. Okay. We are living in Milky Way galaxy. And Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Now, primitive Earth had no atmosphere. Primitive Earth had no atmosphere on early Earth. Correct? Let us see quickly what exactly happened. Okay? I'm just writing a flow chart for all of us over here. First, there were volcanic eruptions. Correct? Volcanic eruptions, lava came out. Okay, and lava gave rise to the soil became black and igneous rocks. Correct? Along with that, lava and gases were released. Which gases? Methane, ammonia, okay, methane, ammonia, hydrogen, okay, and water vapors. Now, with these water vapors, also what did we see? When the gases were released, lot of heat was there in the atmosphere. That's why water, whatever was spraying, was in the form of water vapors. Now, what happens? UV rays enter. Correct? The atmosphere was reducing atmosphere. Why was it reducing atmosphere? Because lot of hydrogen was there. Lot of hydrogen was there. So atmosphere in primitive Earth was reducing. Then this reducing atmosphere is going to, we'll see how it becomes with oxygen. Okay. So now there was no ozone. So what enters in? UV light. UV light entered Earth. UV light entered the Earth. When UV light enters into the Earth, what did it do? The water molecules which were present in the form of water vapor were split into, and when O2 was split, when O2 was released, that is how oxygen came into the atmosphere. That is how even ozone was formed. Ozone was formed too. Correct? Then, once water started breaking down, then we also saw that. So, oxygen was released. Okay, oxygen was released. After oxygen being released, what happened? Further, temperature came down. Okay, when temperature comes down, there was condensation of water. This gave rise to clouds. Correct? Eventually the clouds started to rain. And in that rain, all the gases were mixed in that rain. So, what all mixed in the rain? methane, ammonia, okay, hydrogen, everything was mixed into the rain, and that is going to collect on earth as oceans and seas. Oceans and seas, it is collecting on the earth, and when it collects on the earth with all the other compounds, that is what formed, who will tell me, that is what formed the hot dilute soup. It formed the hot dilute soup. Also you can call it as primitive broth. Okay, yes, also you can call it as primitive broth, because oxygen now combined with all of these molecules, mixed along with the rain, filled up with the oceans, and all in the hot dilute soup. Anyone can tell me what are the compounds you will be finding in hot dilute soup? What are the compounds you will be finding in hot dilute soup? You can find monosaccharides, okay, amino acids, okay, monosaccharides, amino acids, fatty acids, correct, glycerol, correct, nucleotides, all of these can be found in the hot dilute soup. Perfect. Alright, let's come back to our textbook. Now, as we see over here, it's written water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide, ammonia released from molten mass. Molten mass means your volcanoes. And UV rays broke up water into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen escaped. Oxygen combined with ammonia and methane, and it formed water, carbon dioxide, and others. Okay. Then that is then how also the ozone layer was formed. And as it is written, life appeared 500 million years after Earth. So Earth appeared 4.5 billion years back. Now life appeared 500 million after that. That means that life has appeared, can you guys see this? Life appeared 4 billion years ago. Life. Okay? Alright. Now, let's talk about those philosophers. Quickly, the philosophers we will talk about. 1. Greek thinkers were there. Okay? First was Panspermia. What does Panspermia say? Panspermia says that meteorite came on Earth. Meteorite hit Earth. Earth was non-growing. Barren earth, no reproduction, no growth of any form was taking place on earth. But when the meteorite came, meteorite exploded and all the spores came out. What came out? Spores came out. Spores were then dispersed all on the surface of the earth, and that is what gave rise to life. Okay, that was Panspermia theory. Alright, then for a long time it was believed that life came out of dead and decaying and rotting matter like straw or mud. Who gave this theory? Aristotle. Okay, this was called as theory of abiogenesis. Abiogenesis. The theory was done in such a way that rotten clothes or old clothes were taken, some wheat grains were put on it, allowed it to stay for 21 days, and what did we see later on? We saw that mice were there. So, the philosopher saw that mice was there. But he said that mice came out of nowhere. Okay, the life comes out of, it just comes spontaneously. This is what they called as theory of spontaneous generation. Who disproved theory of spontaneous generation? Who disproved it? Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur disproved it. How? How did Louis Pasteur disprove it? With his swan neck flask. Okay, swan neck flask experiment. Correct? What did he do? He took two flasks. One had an open neck, one had a swan neck which made it closed. What did he put inside it? He put broth. What is broth? A solution with animal cells, plant cells. He put broth. Now there were also microorganism yeast inside it. He heated it. So when he heated it, all the microorganisms died. Okay? When they died, it was seen that then there was no growth. But the flask which was open, because oxygen microbes from the atmosphere is able to go inside the broth, then new microorganisms grew. In the S-shaped flask, did anything grow? In the S-shaped flask, did anything grow? No. Nothing grew in the S-shaped flask because there was no way for microorganisms to enter in. I hope this is clear. So, new living organisms arose from killed yeast. New living organisms arose from killed yeast. The yeast was heated, so it was killed. But still its genetic information, its genetic material will still work. So, when it was exposed to air, atmosphere, new yeast came. Did not understand? What? No for what? No for what? Jaldi tell me. No for what? Shruti? Sai Lakshmi? No for what? Clear? Clear everyone? Aage badhe? Can we go ahead? Can we go ahead? Tell me. Shall we go ahead? Quickly tell me. Okay, yes. So, life came from life. Life came from life. Yes. So, we see that Louis Pasteur said that life comes from pre-existing life. But he only said this is a continuity. Was Louis Pasteur able to tell how did the first life come? No. Okay. So, he was not able to tell how did first life come. Fine. No life in the swan neck. Very good. Alright, let's continue. Now we come to our favorite two scientists of this chapter, and these are Oparin of Russia and Haldane of England. Oparin and Haldane. What did they propose? They proposed that chemical evolution. Okay, the first form of life could have come from pre-existing non-living organic molecules. But they are saying that whatever life has come, it has come from organic molecules, although it was non-living. Life has not come from dead and decaying matter. Okay, so even when we talk about Oparin and Haldane, it is still abiogenesis, but it is from non-living organic molecules like RNA and protein. And that formation of life was then preceded by chemical evolution. So first those non-living organic molecules came together, then it gave rise to chemical evolution. What is chemical evolution? Formation of diverse organic molecules from inorganic. So inorganic gave rise to organic. That is what chemical evolution says, and that is correct. Okay, what were the conditions in primitive earth? Conditions on primitive earth were, चलो दूसरा कलर लेते हैं. Okay, conditions on primitive earth were high temperature, volcanic storms, reducing atmosphere, and the reducing atmosphere was there because of high amount of hydrogen, and also there was methane, ammonia. Correct? Then in 1953, Miller, an American scientist, created similar conditions in a laboratory scale. So we say Oparin so Oparin and Haldane just said. They just said it. Did they prove anything? No. Oparin and Haldane said that whatever life is there, it has come from inorganic constituents. But who were the scientists who went ahead and proved it? Okay. It's only and only Miller, and also you can have Urey. So Urey and Miller experiment. Okay, this is the experiment which proved chemical evolution. Okay, how did they create this? How did they make this experiment? What did they do? First, he created an electric discharge in a closed flask. Flask contains methane, hydrogen, ammonia and water vapor at 800. So such a high degree heat was being put. So for this high degree heat to be for the apparatus to sustain it, the flask was very, very thick. Okay, then what did he observe? He observed formation of amino acids. So if he observed formation of amino acid, that means that whatever we thought about primitive broth is absolutely true. That even we know primitive broth also contained amino acids. Then all the other simple elements like monosaccharides, fatty acid, glycerol, everything was there in primitive broth. So even if this experiment the first thing you get is amino acid, then everything else is also correct. Correct? Also he saw formation of sugars. Correct? Nitrogenous bases, pigment and fat. So all of this was found in the initially, okay, and if all this is formed, eventually it will form the bigger molecules. Sugars will form polysaccharide, nitrogenous bases will form DNA, RNA. Okay, so the pigments, the fats, everything will be contributed in the making of a cell. Okay, then also there was analysis of meteorite content. It revealed that similar compounds indicating similar process are occurring elsewhere in space. Okay, so what did we conclude out of all of this? Chemical evolution was more or less accepted. Let us see that diagram. We have the important is the diagram over here. Okay, Miller's experiment diagram. So what do we find over here, kids, in the experiment? First of all, this is a whole sealed glass apparatus. Correct? There are 1 and 2 flasks. Then the tubes are there to connect the 2 flasks. There is a vacuum pump. Why vacuum pump? Vacuum pump is going to simulate primitive reducing atmosphere. Okay, reducing atmosphere, that's why they attached the vacuum pump. Then electrodes were put. Just a second, kids, let me also get this. Just give me a second. Okay, are you all able to see this? So with the help of this vacuum, okay, you can see here, with the help of this vacuum, there is, we can say that there is no, with the help of the vacuum, there is no oxygen. Correct? Because of the vacuum, there is no oxygen. Then what else are we seeing? The energy which was put was 75,000 volts. Energy put was 75,000 volts. Then also they attached a condenser. Condenser is simulating what? Condenser is simulating the earth cooling down. As it is going away from the sun, the earth cools down. That is what your condenser is going to be doing. Now, why do you have a heating? Why do you need heat? Because primitive earth was very hot. Okay, it was near the sun. So it was extremely hot. Whatever was there in the atmosphere was in the gaseous form. Everything was in gaseous form. Okay, so here we have water. Water is going to be boiled. At what temperature? 800 degrees. Then that water vapor is passed through this glass apparatus and it is put into the second flask. In this flask also was added methane, ammonia and hydrogen. All these three were added, right? In this flask all the three were added. Now methane, ammonia and hydrogen were added in what ratio? Who will tell me? Methane, ammonia and hydrogen were added in what ratio? Tell me in the chat box. Yes, everyone? Methane, ammonia and hydrogen were added in the ratio 2:1:2. Okay? Methane, ammonia and hydrogen. 2:1:2. Please remember the order. 2:1:2. Okay? Methane, ammonia, hydrogen. Okay. Then what did they do? Then they applied the electrodes of 75,000 volts. What did the electrodes simulate? Electrodes simulated lightning, UV rays, lightning. That is what electrodes simulated. Alright. Then, alright, after this, they allowed it to pass through a condenser. Okay, through a condenser. So to keep it cool, cold water was always circulated. So the water vapors over here ultimately condensed and they allowed it to condense. They allowed the process to stay there for 18 days. After 18 days, they collected the water in a separate flask. And when they collected this water, they found the presence of amino acids. Which amino acids they found? Alanine, glycine, aspartic acid were found. alanine, glycine and aspartic acid were found. These amino acids ultimately will create proteins, and when proteins are made, enzymes are made. When enzymes are made, everything can begin. Yes or no? Yes or no? Everything can be made. Yes, children? Okay, so we see here the capsules. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the first cellular form of life did not possibly originate till about 2000 million years ago. Okay, that is what they said, and they were probably single cells. Alright, all the life forms in the beginning were in aquatic form. That's why when we study animal kingdom, in animal kingdom, do you remember whether it's porifera, cnidaria, ctenophora, everything was first aquatic. Then from amphibian onwards or even arthropods, that's when you see that okay, now they have started shifting to land, but otherwise the primitive organisms were all aquatic. Okay, now this version of abiogenesis, okay, that is the first form of life arose slowly through evolutionary forces from non-living molecules, is accepted by majority. Okay, the old version of abiogenesis where it was saying that it came from dead and decaying matter, that was not accepted. But this one where it says that the life is coming from non-living molecules because of evolutionary forces, that is accepted. Okay, and now let us continue. So we now talk about Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin, which ship did he go on a vacation? Which ship did he go on a vacation? Which ship did he go on a vacation? On a vacation, which ship did he go on to? He went to HMS Beagle. Okay, Her Majesty the Queen gave him a ship so that he can go on a voyage. Alright, so we see here that conventional religious literature tells us about theory of special creation. What is special creation theory? Special creation is when they said that everything whatever has been created by God Almighty. Okay, so this theory has three connotations. How many? Three connotations. One, first, all living organisms that we see today were created the way they are. Bas means that monkey was created as monkey, human was created as human, dog was created as dog. There is no evolution. Okay, then second states that diversity was always same. Okay, since creation, and will be the same in the future also. So this special creation theory says that if monkey was created, then man was also created. Man did not come from monkey. That's what the first thing that it is said. Also it said that as soon as life was created, all these different forms were also created. And third was that earth is 4,000 years old. So kids, which one of this is correct? Which one of this is correct? None. They were all wrong. They were all wrong. All of them were wrong. Okay? All of them were wrong. Yes. Father Sudres, and this was saying that God created everything. Fine. These were challenged. Finally, somebody came to challenge all this. All these ideas were challenged during the 19th century. Alright. Based on the observations made during a sea voyage in a sail ship called HMS Beagle around the world. Charles Darwin, our one and only favorite. Charles Darwin, he concluded that existing life forms share. So he is saying that whatever is there existing on the earth today, it is similar to whatever organisms existed millions of years ago. Okay, they are sharing today. If you are seeing any organism, it is similar to organisms around itself also, and it is also somewhere similar to organisms which existed millions of years ago, both of them. Okay, so existing living forms share similarities to not only themselves but also that existed millions of years ago. Clear? Yes. So Charles Darwin said that this is all bakwas. All this theory of special creation is absolutely bakwas. Now, many such life forms also of previously do not exist anymore, and also there have been extinction. You know now, everybody agrees with this. Extinction was happening, correct? Then we see there has been a gradual evolution of life forms. Now, we see here, any population has built-in variations. Alright, whatever, any population has built-in variations. Whatever conditions allow them to survive better in natural conditions. Okay, if at all any organism has some sort of variation in them, a good variation which helps it survive as compared to the other ones, that one would outbreed the others. So the one who is the fittest is the one who's going to reproduce the maximum. The one who is the fittest will be the one who is creating maximum progeny. Okay, they are less endowed to survive under such natural conditions. The ones who do not have that kind of variations will ultimately perish off. Okay, so another word used is fitness of the individual. Okay, survival of the fittest. And very important, kids, according to Darwin, fitness refers to reproductive fitness only. Fitness refers to reproductive fitness. Hence, whoever are better fit in an environment are going to have more progeny. The ones who are better fit will have more progeny. The ones who are not fit will ultimately perish off. Okay, the ones which have better fit have more progeny. They will survive more and they will be selected by nature. And this is what we call as natural selection. Okay, and that is a huge major mechanism of evolution. Fine. Next, at the very same time किसी और का भी दिमाग वैसे ही चला. Somebody else also thought in the same way. Who is that? Alfred Wallace. Okay, he was working in Malay archipelago, okay, a group of islands, and he came to the similar conclusions. Alright, similar conclusions in the same time. So apparently we saw that new type of organisms are noticeable. Fine. So it was a common permissible conclusion that Earth is very old. Not thousands but billions. How many billion years old? Who will tell me on the chat box? How many billion years old? How many billion years old? Who will tell me on the chat box? Earth. How many billion years old? Shruti, Nishta, Nandana. Yes. 4.5 billion years old. Very good. Alright, kids. Very good. So we have started. We have managed to complete up till now. We will start with evidences of evolution. Great job, guys. How's it going? How is the Josh? Tell me, how is it going? Tell me, kids. How is our revision going? Fast enough? Pace is fine? Okay, perfect. Chalo, let us start now. Chalo, next topic. Evidences. Let us start now. Next topic. Evidences for evolution. Very good. Evidences for evolution. Kya baat hai? Very good, kids. Alright, now let me tell you one thing. If all of you in this chat box who are telling me that it is going good, this is just because you have read this a good number of times. So I'm super proud of all of you. You're doing really well. Just keep up this pace in this ending 10 days. That's all you need to do. Just stay consistent. Okay, because we are going so fast, this cannot be done if you did not know this chapter. Alright, so please maintain this confidence. You're doing really well, but you need to stay consistent. Okay, Yes, Nishita, I am doing that only. By the way, do you know today at 4 o'clock we are going to be doing important parts of digestion and absorption. Will you all be there? Today at 4 o'clock I am doing same way but important parts of digestion and absorption. Since it's a small chapter. Same way. We'll finish it in half an hour. 4 o'clock. How many of you will be with me? Chalo. Now, let us start now with evidences for evolution. Evidence that evolution of life forms has taken place came from many quarters. First is fossils. What is study of fossil called as? Yes, paleontology. Paleontology. Study of fossils is paleontology. Okay. So, we see here fossils are remains of hard parts of life forms found in rocks. Then, also rocks form sediments and a cross section of earth's crust. If you take a cross section, you see any layers of the earth, you will be able to see the different layers. Okay, take a cross section, you will be able to see the different layers of the earth. Different layers of the earth is telling us which sediment was below, which one was above, which one was above that. So that is telling us how old that particular animal or organism was. When was it there? When was it walking upon surface earth? Okay. So, cross section of earth's surface, earth's crust indicates arrangement of sediments one over the other during the long history of earth. Okay. We also see different aged rock sediments contain fossils of different life forms, and these life forms probably died when that particular sediment was forming. So it died because it died in the formation of that sediment, you find that fossil in that layer only. Fine. Alright, so these are the ones which are representing extinct organisms like dinosaurs. So, study of fossil indicates what? Study of fossil indicates the geological period in which they existed. Fine. This is all called as paleontological evidence. Now, let's talk about embryological support for evolution. Embryological support. Okay, it was proposed by Ernst Haeckel, and it was based upon observation of certain features, okay, during embryological stage. Said that when the embryo of any organism is developing, it is developing in such a way that you are able to see in each stage of it which were the phyla which it arise from. Okay, so like you can say that zygote arise from porifera. Okay, that is how they were coordinating it. Okay, but was that true? No. Was that true? No. Okay, so but what did they say? For example, embryos of all vertebrates including human develop a row of vestigial gill slits just behind the head, but it is functional only in fish. So they said that very moment of the developing chordate where you see gill slits, that is showing that it came from fishes. Okay, that is what they had proposed. Okay, but this proposal was disproved by who? By Carl Ernst von Boyer. He was the one who disproved it. He said that embryos never pass through the adult stages of other animals. So you cannot. What about adult stages? What about the ones which have larva and adult? What about that? Embryos don't pass through all of that. So this is all bakwas. What did he say? This is all bakwas. Alright. Then we see that comparative anatomy and morphology shows similarities and differences amongst organisms of today and those which existed years ago. Okay, those which existed years ago. So, okay, so we see here these kind of, yeah, so correct now, 29, yeah. So, these kind of similarities can be interpreted. These kind of similarities can be interpreted if you want to understand that whether common ancestors were shared or not. So, if at all there is a group of organisms you want to study, are they having any common ancestors? So, in order to find that out, the similarities can be interpreted. Okay. For example, let me give you a whole chart of the analogous homologous organs. Let me give you a whole chart of analogous and homologous organs. It will help us. Here we go. Okay, this is the next topic. Analogous and homologous. Correct. All the examples here, very, very important, children. So you have on one side, I have given you homologous. What is the meaning of homologous animals? Homologous organisms are the ones which have same structure, similar structure. And analogous means similar function. Homologous is similar structure, analogous is similar function. What are the examples given for homologous? 1. Four limbs of whale, bat, cheetah and man. They all have the same structure, but whale uses for swimming, bat uses for flying, cheetah uses for running, man uses for maybe grasp. Fine? Then thorns of bougainvillea and tendrils of cucurbita. Thorns of bougainvillea, tendrils of cucurbita, they both are arising from the stem, but their functions are different. Thorns are meant to keep the predators away. Tendrils are meant for climbing, support for the cucurbita to climb. Okay. So then we see analogous organs. Analogous organs means they are having the same function. Hi Rasleen. Yes, so they are having the same function. For example, wings of butterfly and birds. In butterfly, the wings are made from chitin. In birds, they are four limbs. They are modified four limbs, but they both are used for flying. Then, eye of octopus and eye of mammals. In octopus, eye is coming from the retina, derived from retina. And in mammals, the retina is derived from the brain, alright, from the nervous system, nervous tissue. So their origin is different but function is same, that they need to be for vision. Then flippers of penguins and dolphins also. The flippers come from different origins but functions are going to be the same, to allow them to swim. Then coming to storage of food. For example, in sweet potato is a root modification, potato is stem modification. They both are going to do the function of storing food. Now, when we talk about these two, just a minute. Yes. So, when we talk about both of these, okay, divergent evolution is the one which is having common ancestor, okay, common ancestor, and these are the homologous organs. Homologous organs give rise to divergent evolution, okay, and analogous organs is representing convergent evolution. Convergent evolution, okay. What is adaptive radiation? Adaptive radiation is just a larger form of divergent evolution. Adaptive radiation is a larger form of divergent evolution. No, Shruti, it doesn't come. Okay. So, we have done the examples of homologous and analogous. I am skipping through that over here. We've done all the examples here. All examples up till here we have completed. Yes, class? Yes, kids? Are you with me? All examples of homologous, analogous are absolutely complete. Are you all with me, kids? HDAC, Nishta. HDAC. Homologous for divergent and analogous for convergent. Very good, Nishta. Alright. So, let's begin. Now, alright. Let's, all this carries nothing. Now, interesting observation. Industrial revolution, industrialization. So, natural selection. You know what is natural selection? Evolution by natural selection comes from England. Okay. Moths made in 1850s. Before industrialization, they were more white-winged moth on trees. More white-winged moth on trees than dark-winged or melanized moths. Okay. For this also, let me just see quickly. I have it in a comparative way. Just give me a second, kids. We can quickly go through it. Yes. Are you all able to see my screen? Are you all able to see my screen? Please let me know. Yes, Nishta, of course I remember you. Are you all able to see my screen? Is everyone able to see my screen? Tell me. Natural selection. Okay. One more example of natural selection. We will talk about industrialization. Perfect. Bye, Raslin. Alright. So, we see here in England before industrialization in 1850. Okay. Trees were covered by lichens. Trees were covered with lichens. So, if trees were covered with lichens, the trees were light colored. Correct? So, white moths were not visible. So, we say white moths were camouflaged. It matched the color of the tree. And if black moths were present on the tree, they were easily seen by the birds. So, the prey can catch the black moths and eat them up. So, white moths were naturally selected because they matched or they camouflaged with the color of the tree. That was before industrialization. But then after industrialization, when in 1920 the pollution increased, obviously you know lichens are pollution indicators, so lichen quantity decreased. If lichens decrease, that is going to make the trees dark color. Okay, you can continue now also. Okay, it's going to make the trees dark colored. Now the dark colored trees made the black moths became camouflaged. Okay, whatever predator was coming was not able to pick up the black moth because it was not visible because of the dark colored trees. So now what is visible? White moth. White moth was picked very easily because of the contrast. So these black moth now, after industrialization, the black or the melanic moths were naturally selected. It was naturally selected. Am I clear? Am I clear? It was naturally selected. Okay. So, remember the years 1920? Dark wing moths. Okay. Alright. So, industrialization means there was smoke and soot. Alright. So, we're done with this part. All the points were covered. Let us now continue and we start with... Okay, this is all fine. Let us start now with adaptive radiation. Let us start with adaptive radiation. What is written in adaptive radiation? Darwin went to Galapagos Island. What did he observe there? Amazing diversity of creatures, okay, of particular interest. Small black birds, finches, okay, he called them as Darwin finches, amazed him. Okay? Chidiya ko dekh ke he was very amazed. Wow. Just looking at sparrows, he was so amazed. So there were varieties of finches in the same island. He went to that island and he's like, oh, the same finch over here, so it has this kind of beak. Over there, it had a different kind of beak. So he saw that the same finch, which was originally a seed-eating finch, because it reaches different parts of the Galapagos Island, its shape and its structure of the beak was found to be changed. Why? Because their source of food was also changed. So the beak shape, the beak size changed because of the source of food over there. So all the varieties that he conjectured evolved on the island itself. Also, from the original seed-eating features, other forms arose, enabling them to become, they can eat insects, they can eat vegetables, okay, maybe some were eating fruits, some were eating, maybe some were picking on wood, anything. From originally becoming seed-eating, now they developed different beaks so that they can eat different substances because they were spread throughout the island where different food was available for eating. Okay, so this process of evolution of different species in a given geographical area, starting from a point and literally radiating to other geographical areas, is called as adaptive radiation. If you have attended my previous session of evolution, we spoke about this, where I told you that from one country when the same kind of individuals go to different areas and they adapt themselves according to that area. That is called as adaptive radiation. Okay, so even divergent was going away. Divergent evolution also was going away from one point, but that was in a small geographical area. When we say that divergent evolution now happened at a large scale, going to various areas, that will be called as adaptive radiation. So adaptive radiation is just a larger form of divergent evolution. Okay, then Darwin's finches represent one of the best examples in this phenomenon. Another example, very important, Australian marsupials. Okay, so we saw that the very first marsupial which reached Australia, when it went to different parts of Australia, it developed into different animals. The marsupial went to one part, developed into Tasmanian wolf. It went to another part, it developed into tiger cat, developed into sugar glider, marsupial mole, koala. All of this came from one marsupial. But because they went to different areas, they developed into different organisms. Also, banded anteater, marsupial rat, kangaroo, wombat, bandicoot. All of these have the same, they all have the same origin. Okay, but they are spread out and they are adapting themselves to the given geographical area. So this is called as adaptive radiation. This is called as adaptive radiation. One more example of adaptive radiation is, along with the marsupials, also the placental mammals. Along with the marsupials,